Welcome to the deep dive. We take your raw sources, dig in, and pull out the most compelling insights.
And today we've got something really different. Live recordings from Twitter Spaces.
Exactly. This isn't, a polished interview. It's raw, unfiltered conversations happening in real time. Experts, regular people, all mixing it up.
Right. So our mission here really is to explore that whole dynamic world. The personalities you find there, the unexpected ways people interact.
And the big issues, right? Often messy, complex stuff that bubbles up when these digital platforms become, well, these intense discussion forums.
Yeah, it's a candid look at how complex topics, human nature, technology, how it all gets tangled together online. A space where, honestly, anything can happen.
Okay, so let's get into it. First up, we're looking at Twitter Spaces as this unique kind of forum. Let's call it the digital agora.
And central to the sources we looked at is this one host at Alberto Daniel Hill, incredibly active.
Numbers are pretty wild, aren't they? Hosted something like 1,920 spaces, participated in over 3,000.
Yeah, it's astonishing. And just in the last month, he was in 19 different spaces, basically hosting almost every day.
Wow.
But it's not just the quantity. It seems really collaborative. Like, he co-hosted over 200 spaces with other known figures. People like Unix Doss, at Hacker Sawahik, and at Billy Big Sacks.
So building a community then, what about the audience size?
It's moderate, generally. Average, maybe 48 live listeners. But some posts linking to the spaces got like over 1,400 views. So the reach extends beyond just the live event.
And people seem to like him.
Oh, definitely. The feedback we saw was really positive, describing the content as gripping, calling him an answer host, a mentor, even a friend. It paints this picture of a really engaged community built around these talks.
Okay, so that's the human side. But these spaces are also shaped by the tech itself, right? The tools, the features, and sometimes they're little oddities.
Totally. Like, someone actually suggested a timer for speakers, for when discussions get really heated or just drag on.
I can see the need for that sometimes. Keep things moving.
It's a practical idea.
Yeah.
But the bigger tech story here, I think, is AI. It's already playing this huge, maybe slightly controversial role.
How so?
Well, we heard about Grok, the AI chip company, known for speed, being used to actually profile a participant, someone called Kimberito.
Profile them. Based on what?
The idea was to scrape info from her public Twitter stuff, her interactions, and then cross that with her audio from the space itself to analyze her personality, her behavior.
Whoa. Okay, that's quite something.
And then, get this, they had another AI, Copilot, commenting on the analysis that the first AI generated. It's very meta.
That raises some serious flags, doesn't it? About surveillance, about what these platforms become.
It does, and it makes you wonder about the platform's health, too. We saw data suggesting, like, out of almost 5,000 spaces running globally, only maybe 229 were active in England.
That seems low.
It does seem low. Maybe suggests issues with engagement or reach in certain languages. And it ties into this underlying worry people voiced about tools that can just, get the voice from spaces.
Someone actually asked if that could end spaces, right?
Yeah. Explicitly. That fear that if everything said live can be easily grabbed and analyzed, what does that do to the platform? To open conversation? It's chilling.
Definitely speaks to privacy concerns. And speaking of Grok again, they apparently have some interesting features.
Yeah. The source mentioned things like a waifu goth anime girlfriend AI character and a rude fox designed specifically to be anti-woke and edgy.
Okay, why?
Seems like a niche market play. Trying to be provocative.
Ah.
The host we followed, Hill, he wasn't interested in paying for that stuff, personally.
Right. It highlights this tension, doesn't it? AI companies pushing boundaries, sometimes controversially, while the ethics and even the business models are still being figured out.
Exactly. What kind of AI are we building? What are we willing to pay for?
And the economics are always there. We heard about API pricing you pay based on usage, tokens, credits. Grok apparently doesn't offer free API tokens.
Right. So developers have to pay with their fast models, though there was talk about maybe a command line interface for their coding AI, which might make it a bit more accessible.
But AI in spaces isn't just edgy chatbots or profiling, right? There are practical uses.
Oh, for sure. Things like real-time audio capture, speech-to-text, even business automation, using AI as like an assist card for sales reps or customer service agents during calls. Think dial pad for 3CX, that kind of thing.
Okay. But the security angle keeps coming up.
It's woven right in.
Yeah.
That example of the Gunner Girl, AI designed to flirt to get information, that immediately sparked concerns about, defense contracts or even wilder stuff like population control.
So what's the counter move then? for users.
The experts in these spaces were big on running AI models locally, using tools like Open Web UI, OAMA, basically self-hosting these models on your own machine.
Or even integrating them into coding tools like VS Codium for LLMs.
Exactly. The idea is to keep your data private. The mantra is clear: not your models, not your data. Protect yourself by keeping it local.
It's not just the high-tech stuff shaping the experience, though. The simple human or maybe mundane elements play a role, too.
Absolutely. We heard about, like, persistent low audio from one speaker, or constant interruptions from someone vacuuming in the background.
Aha! Yeah, that grounds it in reality, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Reminds you these are live, unpolished.
Totally. And that rawness brings other challenges to light, like monetization for creators on these platforms.
Oh, yeah, the platform cuts. That was stark.
Right. Apple taking potentially 80%, Android 40% of subscriber money, compared to a payment processor like Stripe taking 0%. That's a huge hurdle for anyone trying to make a living this way.
It shows a power dynamic between the platforms and the creators. And then there were the technical exploits. Jailbreaking AI.
Yeah, finding ways to trick Grok 4 into doing things it's not supposed to. Apparently by injecting hidden Unicode characters like invisible code into the prompts.
Sneaky.
And also, Grok apparently had this vulnerability where it could list its own internal files. Something about red teaming security testing, maybe not catching everything.
So it's this constant back and forth, innovations, security flaws, exploits.
Pretty much. These live forums just lay it all bare. Tech vulnerabilities, human interactions, money, security, all playing out in real time. It's a snapshot of our digital world, really.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit, because this is where things got, well, really fascinating. The personalities that emerged and how these spaces became a kind of political playground.
Absolutely. We heard Adam, that's it, Daniel Hill, again, seriously talking about running for U.S. president.
Seriously, like actually running.
Sounded like it. With Alberto, the other main voice, potentially as VP or maybe head of some new federal internet security department.
Wow. Did he say, like, what his platform would be? His values?
He did list core values.
Yeah.
Honesty, truth, and power. And then he quickly clarified, not Fing kids.
Okay, well, that's direct.
It is. And there was even this simulated presidential interview conducted by an AI. Adam, as the candidate, talked about priorities: affordable health care, supporting families, uniting the country, climate change, prison reform, dismantling drug trade incentives, aiming for disarmament over building more weapons.
An AI interviewing a potential candidate in a Twitter space, that's definitely 2024. How did Alberto react to that?
He was pretty funny about it. Skeptical,
Yeah.
pointed out how predictable the AI's questions and responses were.
Yeah, AI can be a bit generic sometimes.
Right. And he joked that Adam's openness to maybe including Elon Musk in his government actually made him lose a vote.
Huh. That's the kind of unscripted moment you only get in these live settings.
Exactly. And it led to this broader debate about politicians in general. The idea came up that maybe any good human being can never be a politician.
Right.
Because of the perceived need for cynicism, maybe even, someone put it, psychopathic tendencies. They talked about shows like House of Cards or a YouTuber who ran for Senate and had a terrible experience. It painted this picture of politics demanding a certain, maybe not very pleasant personality type.
It wasn't just abstract talk, though. Adam brought his personal life into it, too, didn't he?
Yeah, very openly. Talked about his daughter's heart condition, his own career change away from military and DoD contracting.
And even floated the idea of a reality show journey documenting his path to the presidency.
Yeah, really weaving the personal and the political together.
Yeah.
Makes it feel less like just talk, more like a real person's, journey.
Beyond Adam's ambitions, there were other strong views on government and society, right? Kim Burrito, for instance.
Right. She was deeply skeptical about voting actually changing anything, advocated more for, like, local agitation, pushing back directly.
Where was she coming from politically?
Seemed like frustration with UK politics specifically. Mentioned things like wealth taxes, cuts to disability support, treatment of migrants, and also complained about chaos agents disrupting discussions on spaces. Her focus was clearly on direct action, not relying on the system.
Interesting. What about economic models? Any other viewpoints?
There was definite support voiced for small, effective government. They pointed to Javier Milei in Argentina as an example.
His approach of cutting state costs, firing people.
Exactly. Reducing the size of government, even if it came with a political cost. That was held up as a model by some.
Which contrasted with critiques of the U.S. system?
Yeah, the U.S. was described as the worst of both worlds. Sort of a mix of capitalism and socialism where the argument went, The rich dodge taxes, the poor rely on benefits, and the middle class foots the bill for everything.
Any specific examples?
The CHIPS Act came up. The idea that it was supposed to boost manufacturing, but according to the speaker, that didn't really happen. A disconnect between policy promises and reality.
There was also that cynical take on how politics looks versus how it is.
Oh, yeah. The idea that politicians fight in public but are drinking buddies behind closed doors,
Yeah.
that they're mostly lawyers just putting on a whole thing in front of us.
A common sentiment, maybe? Did Adams stick with the presidential idea, or did he shift focus?
He also talked about the local level, believing direct control is more impactful, aiming for city council or maybe mayor rather than the national stage, seeing more potential impact closer to home.
And then there was Batman, another participant.
Yeah, Batman had a more philosophical take, just stating that politicians are cynical beings and promising to go after them. Very direct.
One last sort of side note from this section, the cursing.
Yes, it came up. The general feeling seemed to be that, sometimes swearing is just a natural way to express frustration.
Someone, a teacher I think, even said it could be appropriate sometimes to punctuate a sense of frustration.
Exactly. Just another sign of how raw and uncensored these spaces can be. It captures the emotion.
So yeah, a real mix. Personal ambition, political theory, economic debate, raw frustration, all colliding in this digital space.
Definitely. It really shows how these platforms become stages for playing out these big societal discussions.
Okay, let's move into our final section, the deep end of data, AI, and security. These topics were kind of woven throughout, but there were some specific deep dives here too.
For sure. And the ethical concerns around AI were really front and center, especially referencing experts like Jeffrey Hinton, one of the godfathers of AI.
What was his main worry, according to the discussion?
It wasn't really the AI tech itself. It was more about the responsibility that humans are putting onto the AI. That's the dangerous part.
Can you give examples?
Yeah, things like AI replacing middle managers, making decisions that might lack a moral compass, or, more critically, using AI for military decisions. Autonomous drones making life and death calls.
Without human oversight.
Or with questionable oversight. And also the tendency to just blame the AI when things go wrong, like with biased algorithms showing racism. It deflects responsibility from the humans who designed or deployed it.
So it's about accountability. Who decided to let the AI do that?
Exactly. Hinton's point, as relayed, was about identifying who makes that call to give AI autonomy and making sure there are proper guardrails.
Because people might treat AI as more than just a tool.
Right. It's a powerful force multiplier, but some people almost apply spiritual stuff to it, treating it like an oracle rather than code. That's where the danger lies, in relinquishing human judgment.
This ties directly into privacy, doesn't it? The data AI feeds on.
Absolutely. That old saying, if the product is free, then you're the product, felt very relevant here.
Especially with things like wearable AI.
Yeah, devices like limitless AI or even smart homes, they're pushing deeper into our private lives, recording conversations, collecting immense amounts of data.
And that data can be sold, used by advertisers, maybe even governments.
That's the concern. And it led to a really unsettling point someone raised about Kaczynski.
The Unabomber.
Yeah. The argument made in the space was that his manifesto, written decades ago, eerily predicted how technology would invade privacy and control personal lives.
That's a dark thought. But it resonates with the anxiety people feel.
It does. And it connects to the digital divide, too. Access to these powerful new AI tools isn't equal. It widens the gap between those who can use them and those left behind.
So ethics, privacy, and then the ongoing cybersecurity battle. That seemed like a hot topic.
Oh, definitely. Lots of discussion about real-world threats. Tools like Census.org and Sherlock were mentioned.
What are they?
Described as really intrusive, aggressive tools. They might claim to be for security research, but participants said they were actively trying to exploit systems, like mail servers. They mentioned specific domains involved in this, like stretchoid.com, related to internet measurement projects.
And blocking them is hard.
Extremely hard. Because they use dynamic IPs, their internet address keeps changing. They might have millions of domain names associated with them. And they often operate from cloud platforms like Amazon or Microsoft, making them hard to pin down.
So it's a constant struggle for defenders.
Yeah, a nonstop need for security fixes, software patches, updating DNS servers, just to keep up with the flood of attacks.
And trying to block attackers can backfire.
That's the paradox mentioned. If you get too aggressive blocking IP ranges, especially DNS servers, legitimate users might not be able to find you anymore. Nobody can find you, as the speaker put it.
Wow. It sounds exhausting. Do they talk about the ethics within the hacking community, like anonymous?
Yes, actually. An interesting example came up involving anonymous operations in Kenya. They apparently got high-level access to government systems and found Red Cross data, like digital certificates.
What did they do with it?
They chose not to release it, made a deliberate ethical decision, even within their own framework, not to potentially harm humanitarian work by leaking that specific data. It shows there are lines, even for them.
But there's frustration, too, among these activists.
Yeah, a sense that their careful, high-risk work finding vulnerabilities often gets ignored, or the credit gets stolen by bigger, louder accounts just repeating the information.
It really highlights the value of deep expertise, which connects to Adam's career advice for his son, right?
Exactly. He apparently advised his son to go into trades like being an electrician or a plumber rather than cybersecurity or system administration.
Why? Because of AI.
Yeah, because AI is automating so many IT tasks.
Hmm.
He sees more long-term security in jobs requiring physical, hands-on work that AI can't easily replicate yet.
That logic extends to other fields, too, presumably, like mechanics.
Right. The discussion touched on that. Maybe we'll have robot mechanics for simple stuff, but you'll still need humans for the really complex, messy, real-world problems, fixing things that require intuition and physical dexterity.
And bringing it back to personal security. The solution many landed on was
Running AI locally. Again, that idea. Not your models, not your data. Using tools to keep your interactions with AI off the big company servers as much as possible.
So wrapping this all up, this dive into Twitter Spaces really gave us a unique window, didn't it?
It really did. From the nuts and bolts of digital tools and their unexpected side effects.
These really bold, sometimes funny, sometimes serious discussions about running for president, changing society.
It's like a microcosm of our modern world playing out live. Personalities clashing, blending, personal stories meeting global worries.
And technology is always there, pushing boundaries, forcing us to think about privacy, ethics, who's accountable for what.
Yeah, this journey through just raw conversation really shows how tangled our digital lives are with everything else, politics, personal stuff.
It definitely makes you think about the need for critical thinking, right? Understanding the forces shaping these conversations.
And appreciating the work, often unseen, of people trying to bring transparency to this constantly shifting digital landscape.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on, based on all this. We're in an age where the lines are getting really blurry. Public, private, human intelligence, artificial intelligence.
Right. So the question becomes,
Yeah.
what does real accountability even look like in that world?
And maybe more importantly, how will your voice, your privacy, your information be protected when the biggest debates, maybe even decisions, are happening out loud in these fast-paced, sometimes chaotic digital public squares?